Hey guys, it's Fred and Sheila coming at you from the shooting range. Guys, we just put a video out a couple of days ago. It's been a while back on fredmccoy.com. We put it out the day that it happened, the day that the church shooting took place in Lexington, Kentucky. Sheila just put it out on her channel, Hatfield McCoy Museum, FS Investigates page, yesterday, I believe it was, maybe the day before. Guys, there's been 2 more instances where somebody packing a gun may have saved their lives or at least kept them from taking a beat down or being seriously injured. There was a case where 11 people were stabbed at a Walmart. Yeah, it can happen. It can happen at a Walmart. It can happen at a Subway, Target, Lowe's, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It can happen at the local park. It can happen as you walk down the street in the little city or big city that you live in. On the beach, it can happen. Things happen, especially nowadays. They're happening more and more. 11 people were stabbed at a Walmart. Then they had the jamboree of some type in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. And this was a racial thing. You know, the funny thing is, a lot of people got on to me on the video of the 22-year-old young man in Jacksonville, Florida, who was taken from his car and who was beaten. And I said race didn't have nothing to do with it because people were saying, stop while driving black. It was racism, and it's not. Those were just bad cops. Those were cops. Those were fights looking for a place to happen. They get bored. They want something to do. They've got the badge. They've got the vest, all the gear, and they nowadays walk around like gladiators, Roman soldiers. I've done that for 40 years. We're there to protect and serve. Not that we're not going to have to fight periodically. What joy does it give a person just to give somebody a beat down? And especially when there's 5 or 6 of you. And especially when the person's already subdued. Hands behind his back, pulling his hair. Whatever. But they tried to say that was racial. And there's at least 2 black cops there. Those 2 black cops joined in. You can see them going hands-on. Those 2 black cops never filed a complaint. Nobody ever filed a complaint saying, hey, this officer and that officer, they were abusive toward this citizen. They never filed a complaint. So how can it be racism? They didn't feel it was racism. They took part in it. There's a difference in driving while black and and being pulled over by the police. And I don't think that happens. I think that's just bad cops with bad morals, looking to beat somebody up, looking for some action, and whatever comes their way. And if it don't come their way, sometimes they bring it their way. The incident in Cincinnati, Ohio is without a doubt. Somebody said, talking about how it's just always one race. If you was this race, you wouldn't be saying that. Well, I'm this race. I'm white, and I just seen a bunch of white people get beat up in Ohio. Now, does that make me hate all black people? Does that mean that all black people are racist? No more than it means that all white people are racist when you see something go on the other way. There's people out here that served in the military with blacks and whites that joined together, slept in the same room together, barracks together, run around together. They don't look at that color. If you're ever in the military, there's only one color probably in that, especially the Marines, and that's green. Everybody's green in the Marine Corps. But I will tell you what I saw on the little bit of video that I have seen. I seen abuse. I seen several men. Forget the color. Forget the colors. I seen several, 4 or 5 men jumping on one guy, kicking him, punching him, abusing him. Not police officers. These are civilians on civilians, the general public on each other. What has happened to us? And then I see women fighting, and I see a man hit this woman at least twice and knock her clean out. It's not hard to knock a woman out. It's not hard to knock anybody out if they're not used to being punched. If they're not used to being in a ring or taking punches, because it startles the brain. They're not used to that. That's why a boxer and martial artist, people can take punches better than other people, because they take punches sparring. That's why you spar, to get better. If you want to get good at something, practice it. The more you practice it, from shooting to bow and arrows to throwing knives, the more you practice anything, the better you're going to get. Same in fighting. Woman took 2 punches that would probably knock out a man, to be honest, but it definitely knocked her out, and she fell back and hit her head on the hardtop. Now, some of you might ask, would that justify deadly force? Would that justify? See, there's an old saying, I would rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6. And I think in that instance, that's probably where that saying is going to come up, because had those people had protection, they wouldn't have had to taken that abuse. Not that they would have had to used it, but they would have had it to come out and said, hey, stop. Somebody call the police. They didn't have it. And like Sheila's always said, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Had those people had it, they would have probably never needed it. And if they did need it, that doesn't mean that they had to use it. Sometimes, but you can't pull it just because you decide, hey, I'm going to show them this, I'm going to scare them off. Never pull a firearm unless you're justified and you intend on using it. Guys, be smart. If you don't take nothing else away from this video, be smart. The states have given us the ability our forefathers gave us the ability in the Second Amendment to carry and protect ourselves. That was taken away from us for a long time, and now it's back. Times are hard, and they're going to get harder. We've got millions of illegals in here. Terrorists, not just what we seen on that video. Those are homegrown Americans, from what I know. First, we got to quit treating each other like that. Treat each other like humans. We're not a bunch of animals. And you get people in a pack. I don't care what color. I don't care what color they are. Crips, Bloods, outlaws, Hells Angels, pagans, it don't matter. You get these people in a pack against somebody else, and you're fighting a pack. Start carrying. If you're smart, you'll start carrying. You'll go, if you don't own one already, you'll go buy a gun that you're comfortable with. Go to a gun shop, a gun store that has an indoor shooting range, and tell them you want to try different guns. And if it's a revolver, if it's a 22 or a 44, don't be silly and get a 44, but get a caliber and a grip and a handle and a frame of a gun that you will carry. That's not so big that you won't carry it, or so little that you don't feel comfortable in using it, that you don't think it will do the job. So there's a medium in there. Get you a gun that you feel comfortable in shooting, revolver, semi-automatic, a caliber that doesn't have as much recoil that you like. If you can handle the recoil, take the recoil. You all can turn this video off by now, probably some of you, but Don't wait till it happens to you and then look back and say, wow, I wish, instead of my wife stretched out on the ground, or my girlfriend, or my sister, or my brother, I wish instead of that happening, I wish I would have been carrying where I could have put a stop to this early on. I don't want to get into the legalities. You know, carrying a gun is not just about the law. There's laws that pertain to carrying guns. There's permits that you can get to carry guns across state lines and different things. But for instance, Kentucky and a lot of other states is now constitutional carry, which means you can carry it concealed, you can carry it open. And we're going to do a video later on open carry. I don't agree with open carry. I think it's there for the taking. Why do you want to take the element of surprise out or advertise that you're carrying a gun? Because if a bad guy doesn't have a gun, he knows somebody that does. If you've got yours on the outside and it's open carried. Why carry it open if you can also carry concealed? Why wouldn't you hide it other than to show off or to display that you've got a gun? All you're doing is showing the bad guy. If there's a bad guy there, he knows at least one person that's got a deadly weapon. If all he's got to do is take yours, and everybody else is at his mercy. I'm not going to drag it out, guys. If I could give you one piece of advice, don't be a statistic. Don't be a statistic. And use common sense. Use common sense when carrying a gun, when drawing a gun. Practice your shooting regular, your shooting skills, your loading skills, your jamming if you're using a semi-automatic. If you don't want to get into the jamming part and afraid of gonna jam on you, get a revolver. A revolver is better than nothing at all. Some people says, I don't want a 22. They don't have no knockdown power. Well, a 22 is better than a 44 that you don't carry, that you leave at home or in the glove compartment. A 5-shot 22 is better than a 2-shot Derringer. But a 2-shot Derringer is better than nothing at all. Common sense, guys. Protect yourself, protect your family. If it comes down to it and a jury and a judge has to decide it for you, it's better than laying there dying on the street or dead on the street. I don't know. I haven't heard the condition of that lady. I know I saw a photo on Facebook where a woman's laying there, eyes are back in her head. Looks like she's dead. Now, somebody, maybe it was Sheila, was telling me that she didn't die. So if she didn't die, she didn't die. But she very easily could have. Catch you next time, guys. Thanks.